Chapter 126 Note. Braised prawns. Supreme crab clay pot. Captain braised pork. Shonen roast suckling pig. Red tassels hand full of vegetables and meat, excitedly shouted in the street, two eyes shining. Lin 7 Nights and Sishonon followed behind, holding the same ingredients in his hand, looking at the red tassels in front of him in high spirits, helpless sigh. Sister Hong on the street. Would you mind not being so pretentious? People look at us funny. Si Xiaonan shouted quietly. Redding did not care about the wave of hands, whatever, in the office stuffy for so long, rare out to play a trip, why care about other people's eyes? Besides, what's wrong with having a good new year, huh? 7 Nights' brother. Redding hugged Lin 7 Nights' neck, grinning happily said. Lin 7 Nights' helpless sigh said, I am not in these days, no mystery has come? Yes there is. Red Tassel thought about it, but it was just a pond lizard. In addition to running faster and how to cut also cannot cut apart, there is nothing special with the Nanda snake demon. That intelligence abnormal mystery much simpler. Can't cut it? Lin 7 Nights surprised to open his mouth. Then how did you kill it? Just because a knife can't cut doesn't mean my gun and my fire can't. Red Tassel hands akimbo, very proud to open the mouth. To tell you the truth, I only threw a shot, it was dead. Still something was strange. This is strange. After I killed the lizard, by the time the support crew got there, it was only half of itself. Only half left? Lin 7 Nights frowned slightly, seems to think of something. Yes, I think it may be that my rose fire feather is too strong, directly burned it away, but the captain and Wu Xiangnan think that things are not so simple, because the last Nanda snake demon's head has not been recovered. Someone's secretly collecting mysterious bodies? I don't know. Lin 7 Nights frowned to think for a moment or shook his head. Now he is just not from the training camp of the quasi-night watchman, after 2 days to go back to camp. Now worry about these seem to have no use, everything to the captain and Wu Xiangnan. 3 people slowly shook the street into a relatively remote laneway. At this time, a bunch of dark shadow flew through the air, straight toward the forest 7 Nights shoot. Lin 7 Nights with the field of earth and God was the first to respond, and did not wait for the thing to fly to the front, then gently to the side, while a touch of darkness to him as the center of the extreme speed burst. Whoosh! It was a small metal arrow, fast but not sharp, and after hitting the asphalt, the entire body of the arrow bounced and fell to the ground with a jingle. And then the darkness completely enveloped it. The imaginary explosion did not happen, and the small metal arrow lay so quietly on the road like a big joke. Lin Chia and Hong Ying turned to look at the same time, and saw that on the opposite side of the high-rise, a figure wearing a black cloak was standing there. The sun shone from behind him, and the shadow cast by the hood perfectly covered his face. When they saw him, he put away his crossbow at once, turned and ran towards the other side of the building. All right. Red Ing cold hum the hand of the 2 big bags to the hands of Lin 7 Nights, and then the body shook quickly to drag out the residual shadow, chasing the direction of the person left. You go back and I'll see who dares to be so rude in front of this lady. The figure has disappeared. The sound of red tassels came from the air. Lin Chia standing on the side of the road carrying bags, frowning slightly. What is this? A surprise attack? A sneak attack of this magnitude could easily have been avoided with some skill, right? Let alone the agent of the 2 gods? And with this strength of the arrow, even if it is really stabbed will not necessarily die. Is the arrow smeared with poison? Lin Chia crouched down and carefully observed the small metal arrow in front of him, and the mental force swept gently, it would perceive clearly. He suddenly put down the bag in his hand, took a small roll of paper from the end of the arrow and spread it out in his palm. The next second his pupils suddenly constricted. Lin 7 Nights will hold the note in the hand without saying a word, turned around while all the bags set on the division Xiaonan thin arm, almost directly crushed to the ground. And you take these and go home. I have work to do. Lin Chia hurriedly left a word, turned and ran to the other side of the road fast. Xiaonan, who had 7 or 8 big bags on his shoulder, opened his mouth wide and seemed to want to say something, but before he could say it, Lin 7 Nights disappeared. In the empty and lonely lane, Si Xiaonan, wrapped in a down jacket, looked at the bag in his hand and looked at the empty sides. After a while, the grievance pursed his mouth. I do not know when the snow gradually floated down. Last night, the thick snow has not yet melted, covered with footprints and broken soil on the sidewalk. The figure of the forest 7 Nights quickly shuttle. He crossed 2 street corners in succession, found the black van parked in the parking lot, took 2 black boxes out of the back of the van, and ran out again like a gust of wind. He rushed straight to the curb and looked left and right, frowning more and more. Although Lin Chier is now an adult, he has not yet tested his driver's license, so he certainly can't drive the car of Team 136. But today is New Year's Eve and there is no taxi on the road. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Chia gritted his teeth and simply ran directly in the direction of the old city with the black box. The piece of paper in the palm of his hand had already been soaked with sweat. The above is only a simple sentence, but easily broke the psychological defense of Lin's 7 Knights. 3901 Old Town. Someone's going after your family. The words on this are crooked, obviously written with the left hand, which shows that the person who wrote the note does not want to reveal his identity, but precisely said the address. The address he always cared about but could not approach. That's his home. Who wrote the note? How does he know all this? Is that true or not? Why did he tell himself the news? What is his role in this attack? These questions quickly circled in Lin's mind. 7 Knights. But now he had no mind to calm down to think about these questions. There was only one thought left in his mind. Whoever it is, dare to lay hands on Auntie and Ajin. If it is Yama, I will kill him. In the snow, the young man carrying 2 black boxes, the body is like a ghost, killing. Chapter 127. Maniac Scorpion. Ajin, it seems that the position of this blessing is a little down. No. Seems a little to the right. No. Oh, that's right, that's right. In the narrow old corridor, Yang Jin held a roll of red blessings in his hand, stepped on the small bench, seriously pasted the blessings on the door, carefully smoothing every corner. After posting this, he gently jumped off the bench, turned to examine it and nodded. Mom, do you have anything else to post? And doors. Every door needs to be pasted. Aunt from a roll of blessings, carefully picked out a clearly different blessing. This blessing is larger, redder and with a golden grain edge. This post to your brother's door. The child is far from home. The general blessing may not be very useful. This blessing is I specially went to the store to come, but also spent more than $20. Aunt took the piece of fortune in her hand, her fingers gently rubbing the edge, and said earnestly. Yang Jin smiled gently. Mom, were there near and far points of this blessing? You little boy, what do you know? It's called believing the truth and not believing the truth. Aunt glared at him. Your brother's life outside must be very hard. After using this blessing, I hope those Gada can take care of him. Got it. Yang Jin shrugged his shoulders. Yang Jin took the Fu character and tape, opened the door, kicked down the corridor. Lying on the bed of the little black toadiness, the latter swaying to stand up, Yan lazily followed 2 people into the house. Yang Jin pasted Fu on the door one by one, while Aunt put on an apron and went straight to the kitchen to prepare the New Year's Eve dinner. You said your brother's a kid and he's gonna be celebrating the new year and he's not gonna call. My aunt began to ramble as she cut vegetables. You don't get a lot of phone calls in the army. He's probably busy right now. Forget it, I'll call him later. Big New Year, at least ask him if he has a New Year's dinner. Mom, let's order less tonight because we can't eat all of it. Aunt cut the vegetables with a slight hand, did not speak. Yang Jin looked at the kitchen, slightly sighed, and once again wiped the big fortune word on the door of Lin's 7 Knights with his hand, and nodded his head with satisfaction. This is a good one. Outside the low building, a black van parked on the side of the road. White snow covered the car body, leaving only a few windows exposed. The glass has also been specially treated from the outside, only black. The man sitting in the driver's seat holding a cigarette, slowly lowered his telescope and raised the walkie-talkie at hand. Scorpion 3. Nothing unusual near target. Then another voice came over the intercom. Scorpion 9, target woman chopping in the kitchen, nothing out of the ordinary. On the roof opposite the low building, a man in a white combat uniform crouched in the snow, holding a sniper rifle, and said in a deep voice. Scorpion, target boy moving in the living room, nothing out of the ordinary. From a different angle of the building, another sniper lurking behind a screen said. Copy that. Stay where you are. Hearing this, Scorpion 3, sitting in the car, frowns slightly and turns on his walkie-talkie. Scorpion 1, we've been here for 2 days. When exactly? Wait for the target to appear. What if he never shows up? The man on the other side of the walkie-talkie was silent for a moment and continued to say, Miss Snake Girl said that if the target did not come before tonight, he would directly abduct the woman and child and hand it over to Miss Snake Girl. Snake Girl, Snake Girl. Well, when did we scorpions become a woman's lackeys? Scorpion 3, watch your language. Scorpion 1's voice is obviously serious. Since we have chosen to become believers of the Church of the Ancient Gods, we must obey the will of the Church gods. Just a few agents of the gods calling themselves gods? Scorpion 3 sneers. Scorpion 3. Scorpion 1 is clearly angry, and since we have no other choice but to embrace the Church of the Old Gods, you can no longer break your covenant with the gods, or you will not only kill yourself, but all of us mad Scorpion mercenaries. Scorpion 3 held the walkie-talkie, laughed and said no more. Scorpion 1, since our target is the two-god agent, if he does show up, can the rest of us take him on? Another man's voice rang over the intercom. Scorpion 7, when did you get so scared? Even if we can't handle it, there is still that one, that is the 10th seat of believers, the strong one who is only half a step away from entering the sea, and it is not a problem to deal with a new person who is still in the pool. Scorpion 1 of this sentence immediately pressed down on all voices. No one dared to question this action. As for Scorpion 3 sitting in the car, it is just a cold hum, no more words. A believer? A voice came from outside the car. Scorpion 3, tiger body a shock, suddenly turned his head to look. I saw outside the van, I do not know when, standing a young man carrying 2 black boxes, eyes black as ink. He stood outside the door, and a darkness spread rapidly in his heart, and in an instant the whole van was enveloped. Scorpion 3's pupils suddenly contracted, quickly reach out to take the walkie-talkie, but the teenager outside the door eyes a condensate. His side of the walkie-talkie will be torn into several pieces, spattered with dazzling sparks. The young man stood quietly outside the car, fingertips on the door gently stroke. The whole door will burst from the central. Believer in what is it? The boy's deep voice echoed in the snow. Scorpion 3, after all, is a battle-hardened warrior. Backhanded from under the seat, took out a short knife, low roar, and quickly stabbed Lin Chia's throat. Lin Chia seemed to have anticipated his action. Gently back half a step, the tip of the short knife brushed against his skin, leaving no scars, and then the other hand quickly hit the wrist of Scorpion 3. Scorpion 3's wrist loosened, and the dagger of his hand came out of his hand, but instead of the slightest shock, his face flashed a sly smile. A black short-handle submachine gun, do not know when to appear, in his left hand, aimed at Lin's 7 knights. He yanked the trigger. Dazzling sparks burst out, and the bullets circled from the gun chamber, pouring out, carrying the kinetic energy of terror, forcing the face of Lin's 7 knights. Chapter 128, Sniping. Lin Chia body shake, quickly avoided a few of the bullets and then reached out in the void. Astir, the gun barrel of the submachine gun was his hard twist into a twist. Under the action of dark erosion, although it is not yet possible to directly tear the metal, but it is still possible to change its shape, and the submachine gun such things. Once the chamber is blocked, there is only one result. Thunk. There was a dull sound, and Scorpion 3's submachine gun burst open, crushing his arm, and after a howl of pain, a short knife flew up in front of him. Lin Chia controls the short knife, hovering in the throat of Scorpion 3. The tip of the knife stabbed into the skin, oozing a little blood. I ask again, what is a believer? Lin's 7 Knight's cold voice sounded again. At the same time, a darkness crept into Scorpion 3's pupils, and more pain than ever came into his mind, as if something were eating his brain, tearing, shredding. Although the darkest erosion cannot control the human spirit for the time being, the pain it causes to people is absolutely nightmarish, and in some cases torture can also play a magical role. Under the double torture of the body and spirit, Scorpion 3's psychological defense line soon collapsed, and he spoke out all the information he knew. From Scorpion 3's description, the so-called believers are affiliated organizations of the Ancient Church of God. The official members of the Ancient Church of God are all composed of divine agents, and the number is extremely small, although the individual strength is strong, but the number of people makes their influence limited. Therefore, in order to make up for the lack of numbers, the gods of the Church of Ancient God created believers in the name of the gods, and they selected members from countless strong people who had ambition and strength as peripheral members of the Church of Ancient God. Each member who became a believer signed a soul contract with one of the gods of the Church of the Ancient Gods, promising that when the Dark Age of Gods came to Earth, these believers would become rulers over 10,000 people. Of course, there are not many people who truly believe that the age of the Dark Gods will come, so most members of the believers are forced, brainwashed, coerced, or tricked into entering by the gods, but after signing the soul contract, they can only unconditionally obey the arrangements of the gods and become true believers. In short, the believers are powerful puppet organizations directly controlled by the divine agents of the ancient Church of God. From Scorpion 3's mouth, Lin Chia also learned that this group of them was received as believers by a god agent of the ancient Church of God 2 years ago. Originally they were a mercenary who did dirty things for people, code name Crazy Scorpion. And the god they believe in is the Medusa of the ancient Church of God, code name Snake Woman. Snake Woman. Lin's 7 Knights heard the name, frowning slightly. If he remembers correctly, the woman who invaded the missile base and blew up the training camp was a suspected Medusa agent. She's after herself? Lin Chia gently waved his hand, and the short sword pierced Scorpion 3's throat, directly depriving him of life. Scorpion 3 did provide him with information, but he never said from beginning to end that he would release him if he provided information, not to mention that he wanted to kill his family, even if it was not enough to die 10,000 times. Just when Lin Chia was ready to move, a faint sound came from the distant building, followed by a bullet speed to break the air, straight shot to Lin Chia's forehead. Lin Chia's pupils suddenly contracted and turned sideways without thinking, and the bullet with its horrible kinetic energy brushed his cheek, leaving a faint trace of blood. This shot, if the response of Lin Chia is half a minute slower, it will be able to directly kill him. A sniper. Lin's 7 Knights bent down to hide behind the van, frowning. With the coverage of Lin's mental force and the mastery of dynamic vision, the general gun has been difficult to pose a threat to him, but the sniper gun is a different matter. The flight speed of sniper rifle bullets is about 1,000 meters/second, and Lin Chia's mental perception range is only 100 meters, that is to say, the moment the bullet enters the perceptual range to come to Lin Chia's front, there is only a second gap. In such a short time, Lin's 7 Knights can barely avoid the bullets is already very good. As for the use of dark gods to catch bullets, it is not even a thought. Lin Chia just bent down, the top of the van on the head suddenly broke a big hole. A bullet pierced the door on the side of Lin Chia deep into the snow. 2 snipers. Lin's 7 Knights' face suddenly congealed up. If there is only one sniper, then he can barely cope with the terrain, but if there are 2 people sniping in different directions, the danger is directly multiplied by several times. Not only that, the 2 snipers were hiding in extremely concealed locations, and the guns were also silenced, making it difficult to predict their position in this snow. According to Scorpion 3, there are still 8 of them lurking around here. I don't know where they are, and now the enemy is dark and I am clear, and the situation of Lin's 7 Knights has changed dramatically. When Lin Chia was thinking quickly, a bullet whistled past his head, accurately falling into a mass of snow at the top of the opposite building. The next moment a bunch of blood spattered out, a figure fell straight down. And a sniper? No. And one of our snipers? Lin's 7 Knights seemed to think of something, suddenly looked in a certain direction. Hundreds of meters away, a man in black crouched in the snow, his body has accumulated a thick layer of snow, and the sniper gun in his hand has a wisp of smoke gradually drifting away. Ling Xian. The first one. He muttered to himself. The sniper mirror in his hands firmly locked the second sniper hiding behind the screen. The sniper knows that there is a peer present, look a little panic, but he seems to be convinced that his position is not exposed, still quickly searching for the position of Ling Xian. Ling Xuan's eyes slightly narrowed, mercilessly pulled the trigger. The next moment is another bullet shot. Whoosh. The bullet passed through hundreds of meters of distance, smashed every snowflake in the path, and finally disappeared into the sniper's eyes, leaving a hideous blood hole. The second. Lung Xian will remove his eyes from the sniper mirror, look at the direction of Lin's 7 Knights, muttering, and then, it's up to you. Hundreds of meters away. Watching the second sniper was Ling Xian shot in the head, Lin's 7 Knights' eyes more bright up, he stood up from the van, turned his head to look in a certain direction. Within the range of his mental perception, several figures were rapidly approaching him. Chapter 129. The Mangy Dog. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lin Chia's mental force swept around. In his position on the left and right of each of the 2 figures are fast approaching. They wear white camouflage helmets, headphones on the ears. The body is full of hidden weapons. Although these 4 people wore snow camouflage, they were still exposed clearly within the scope of Lin Chia's spiritual perception. Crunch, crunch. Their feet made a slight noise in the deep snow, and with a flip of their palms, they took several guns from behind their backs. Da-da-da-da. The muzzle of all guns has been silenced, and under the sound-absorbing effect of drifting snow, there is no sound at all, only the tongues of fire spew, and the deadly killing machine is hidden in the drifting snow whistling past. Bullets flew from all directions, Lin Seven Knight's eyes on a touch of night, the extreme darkness in his center, like a drop of ink stains on the snow, unusually conspicuous. Under the addition of the night, the speed of Lin Seven Knights is several times faster. The figure is shaken, the wrong body to avoid the dense bullet attack, with the inertia of half a circle in the snow, a flutter of the wrist and the black box of both hands at the same time. Click dash. With a soft sound, 2 straight knives shot out. Lin Chia stood in the same place, the darkness in his eyes more and more profound, fingers in the air gently stroke. Victor. In midair, 2 swords out. The light blue blade cut the crystal snow. The blade clearly reflected the figure of the crazy Scorpion 4 people. They rotated half a circle in the air, toward the nearest Scorpion 4 from the forest's 7 knights. Lin Chia's darkest god's market range is only 20 meters. That is to say, he can only control the star knife away from the hand in the range of 20 meters. This distance is not long, but it is not short. Scorpion 4 saw 2 star knives flying toward him, decisively threw away the gun in his hand, and drew 2 short knives from the outside of his thigh. Dang. In the end, the crazy Scorpion is a man who has been through many battles, and the short knife of the Scorpion 4 firmly held the attack of a star knife, followed by a roll, and avoided the attack of another knife. He sneered, threw out a short knife in his hand and flew straight to the door of Lin Seven Knights. Lin Seven Knights' figure as a ghost, while avoiding mid-air bullets, while gently hook hands, flying into the air of the short knife suddenly embedded in the dark, and then fly out at a faster speed. At the same time, just Scorpion 4 paraded 2 star knife also turned back. 3 swords together. Scorpion 4's pupils suddenly constricted and he swung another dagger to block one, but then a star knife flew from behind and pierced his chest with ease. Scorpion 4 snorted and fell flat on her back. Although with 2 star knife instant kill a person, but Lin Chia is still in danger. The other 3 people seem to have realized that the hot weapon cannot give Lin Chia cause an effective threat. Simply direct close and Lin Chia fight up. Scorpion 5 Scorpion 6 reverse hold short knife. And unarmed Lin Chia close fight together, knife tip, knife body, fist, elbow, knee, shoulder. Every joint of their limbs was now a weapon of terror. They are battle-hardened mercenaries. Close combat is naturally strong, aggressive, deadly. Lin Seven Knights unarmed at the same time to resist the 2 storm attack retreat. Lin Seven Knights' close combat ability is not bad, but after all only learned for half a year at this moment in the face of these 2 mercenaries from life and death, it is difficult. If it weren't for the speed of the Star Dancer, the power bonus and the terrifying dynamic vision of the world of the gods, he would have been lost. At this time the 2 star knife flew back to the hands of Lin Seven Knights. Double knife in hand, Lin Chia momentum immediately is not the same, the hands of 2 star knife flips, knife shadow blur, easy block Scorpion 5 Scorpion 6 attack and even faint pressure over 2 people. Since finding his own road, Lin Chia will be in the 2 knife flow up and down the effort. It has been proved that his talent in this area is really good, and now in the training camp on cold weapons fighting alone, although it is not as good as the top masters of several martial arts specialized families, but it will not be too different. Lin Seven Knights knife body shock back Scorpion 5 Scorpion 62 people. Immediately there are 2 people from the rear and Lin Seven Knights fight together. Up to now, the 9-person Crazy Scorpion team, a total of only 4 people died. 2 people died in the hands of Cold Xian, 2 people died in the hands of Lin Seven Knights. The remaining 5 people have not yet appeared, but only Scorpion 2 Scorpion 5 Scorpion 6 Scorpion 7 4 people in turn attack, can be haunted Lin Seven Knights. Lin Seven Knights is to see that they want to rely on the number of people, slowly kill their physical strength, but it is a pity. They are doomed to disappointment. In the Star Dancer's bonus, Lin Seven Knights a person to kill 4 of them. The only uncertainty now is the last person who never showed up, Scorpion 1. When Lin Seven Knights single Crazy Scorpion team, no one noticed that a group of fuzzy light and shadow quietly drifted across the snow battlefield, fell in the corridor of the low building. The light faded and the figure of a middle-aged man was revealed. He stood by the window of the corridor, bent down and lit a cigarette for himself, and watched the battlefield in the distance with a chuckle. Bunch of idiots. Is that worthy of being a follower of Miss Snake Woman? A disgrace. He took a deep breath, exhaled a smoke ring and then flicked the ash. If you want to subdue that guy, all you have to do is catch the woman and the child. Such a simple thing, and so many people died. Pffffff. He dropped his cigarette on the ground, stomped hard, put his hands in his pockets, turned and walked up the old stairs. He is the 16th seat of the believers, Lu Liang, a strong man in the Sichuan border, only half a step away from entering the sea border. He's strong but he's cautious. From a nobody step-by-step to today, he has never relied on force, but on strategy and caution. Cannot fight directly, he never shot even if the enemy is only a pool of teenagers. A mysterious double god agent and two defenseless ordinary people, Lu Liang knows what to choose. It turns out that in this world, caution is never wrong, and after all these years the so-called strong men he knew who had relied on their own great power to ignore everything were half a man tall. Only he, still alive to the end, became the 16th seat of the believers. Lu Liang stepped on the stairs step by step. His mind seems to have emerged after he caught the boy's relatives, how he will kneel in front of himself, begging himself to let them live. That's what he loves most. The corners of his mouth gradually raised, and when there was another layer to arrive, he was slightly stunned and suddenly stopped. At the top of the stairs in front of me, somewhere along the way, lay a small black mangy dog. The little mangy dog saw Lu Liang and yawned with his lazy mouth. Lu Liang raised his brow slightly, studied the mangy dog carefully for a moment and laughed. What an ugly dog. Chapter 130. The blood boils. Dang dang dang. The shadow of the knife is like electricity, and several short knives collide one after another, wiping out dazzling sparks. Lin Chia's body moved in the snow, the footsteps stepped on the snow, but never left a trace. He is like a ghost, smart and strange. Star knife sweep, swing Scorpion 5 and Scorpion 6. Lin's 7 knights holding the knife in place across a semicircular circle, refraining from the Scorpion 2 and Scorpion 7 short knife. Then Lin's 7 knights' eyes, blooming dazzling gold on, like there are 2 blazing furnaces, burst out. Seraph divine power. At the moment of the divine outburst, Scorpius 2 and Scorpius 7 only felt their spirits crushed by every inch, screamed and stumbled backward. Lin's 7 knights seems to have expected this scene. A sharp step forward, the blade flashed, the blade quickly wiped the neck of 2 people, blood splattered. This is the chance to kill that Lin has been waiting for. Seraphim divinity helped him open the situation. The balance of 4 to 1 was broken. Lin's 7 knights and then fight Scorpion 5 Scorpion 6 2 people. It has been a secure victory. Scorpion 5 Scorpion 6 see the other 2 people were Lin's 7 knights with thunder means to kill. The face suddenly appeared panic color, even back several steps. God damn it. Damn it. What about Scorpion 1? What are you doing? Why haven't you done it yet? Scorpion 5's arm, which held the dagger, trembled slightly, whether from fear or from the long battle. He turned on his headset and bellowed to the other side. But no matter how much he shouted, there was no answer. Lin Chia's mental force has always been concerned about the surrounding wind and grass. Until now, the last person of the crazy Scorpion team did not appear. His eyes flashed a cold Aang holding a double knife standing in place. The next moment, the number of guns on the surrounding body automatically floated up, hovering in the side of Lin's 7 knights. The black hole muzzle aimed at the Scorpion 5 Scorpion 6 in front of us. Click dash. Gun insurance automatically open. Lin's 7 knights finger light hook. A strip of flame will spit out. Lin's 7 knights can dodge bullets, but Scorpion 5 and Scorpion 6 can't, although they try their best to avoid the trajectory of the bullets. But there are too many guns around, only a moment to beat them into a sieve. 2 more figures fell in a pool of blood. Although the enemies in front of him have been killed, Lin Chia did not relax at all. The gun is still quietly suspended in his side, his eyes carefully swept around. It seems to be searching for something. Then a man also dressed in white camouflage quietly appeared in the scope of Lin Chia's psychic force detection. Lin Chia's eyes fell on his body, frowning slightly. You're Scorpion 1? Right. The man seemed unconcerned about the death of his companion, and as he approached Lin Chia, he unbuckled his camouflage suit to reveal a black tactical vest. You're too late. Lin's 7 knights calm opening. Late? There was a sneer on Scorpion's lips. I came just in time. He threw all his guns aside, pulled a pocket knife from his boots, and with his other hand lifted the silver nameplate on his chest to his mouth and kissed it gently. Blood boiling. he murmured. The silver nameplate in his palm vibrated violently, and a strange breath exhaled, gurgling blood like a river, floating from several corpses around, dipping into the nameplate. What's banned? Lin Seven Knights frown. Blood boiling. Forbidden Ruins Sequence 209. In a short period of time to absorb the blood of all dead creatures in the range, obtain their power and superposition. It's a treasure I found in the rainforest and those idiots don't even know I have it. Scorpion, a sneer will be dyed into the blood of the nameplate into his hand. The body of blue tendons burst. Both eyes emerge, a touch of blood, full of wild power of the body, almost directly the black tactical vest to break. I never expected to be able to defeat a two-god agent with these losers, whose only purpose here was to be my sacrifice. They used to be battle-hardened mercenaries. Chi and blood are extremely sufficient, 8 people together, enough to pile up my fighting force to the peak of the pond, and even break through to the river. Killing you will give me a place among the believers. Scorpion, a backhand holding a pocket knife, put on a standard fighting posture, scarlet eyes dead staring at Lin Chia. Eyes emerge, a touch of madness. Lin Seven Knights' spiritual force can clearly perceive the surging power of Scorpion 1. Frowning slightly, several guns behind him again opened fire. At the moment of the bullet out of the chamber, Scorpion 1's legs on the ground, the whole person is like a string of arrows close to the ground flight. Black tactical vest left a vague track on the snow, breaking through the bullet siege toward Lin Seven Knights rushed. Lin Seven Knights' shooting technology is touching Scorpion 1's speed and fast. After a series of shooting is hard, not a bullet hit Scorpion 1, his face a black, throw a few guns in the side. 2-star knife in hand, Lin Chia's figure also flashed quickly, but compared with the current Scorpion 1 even slower. 2 figures in the snow in rapid collision. Dang. Knife and knife without fancy collision together. The gas wave will directly shake the snow in the air. Lin Chia only feel a numb arm, the body staggered back a few steps. In strength, Scorpion is still superior. Lin Chia's eyes became more and more solemn. So far, Scorpion 1 is the enemy he has met that can completely suppress his speed and strength. Star Dancer can bring 5 times the speed and strength of Forest 7 Knights. But under the blessing of blood boiling, Scorpion 1 is directly integrated with the attributes of the other 8 mercenaries. In some specific environments, the blood boiling gives people the combat power, will far exceed its own sequence ranking, from a dangerous level to a high-risk level, and the current Scorpion is obviously in this situation. On the basic battle attributes, Scorpion 1 has broken through the pool, arrived at the level of the Sichuan border, can hold down the Lin Seven Knights is not surprising. Dang dang dang. Blood-boiling Scorpion 1 is like a crazy fighting machine, only with a knife in the hand again and again to repel Lin Chia. Backhand swinging open 2-star knives, he suddenly kicked out, directly kicked Lin Chia, flew 10 meters away. Lin Chia's body dragged out long marks in the snow, and finally hit a back wall, and suddenly spit out a mouthful of blood before stopping. Ahem ahem. Lin Chia coughed, stand up, eyes dead staring at Scorpion 1. Scorpion hand holding a knife, step by step close to Lin Chia. Tongue-tip licking lips, showing a bloodthirsty smile. Just when Lin was ready to do something in the Night 7, the crisp telephone rang. Beyond the mountains and beyond the sea are a group of Smurfs who are lively and clever. Lin Seven Knights is startled from the pocket out of the mobile phone. Caller, Aunt. Chapter 131. Is all right. Lin Seven Knights see the call display of the moment, the body slightly shocked. The next moment, a sharp lash of the leg was thrown in front of him. Lin Chia crouched down as lightning, avoided the blow, and in turn used a sweep leg heavy hit Scorpion 1's ankle. Scorpion 1 just shakes its body a little, steady as a mountain. They're so hard. Lin Seven Knights' dark scold a voice. The star knife in the hand suddenly blocked the folding knife, but the terror force from the knife body, still will he directly fly out. Barely holding his position in the snow, the phone was shaken out of his hands and fell into the snow next to it. Oh sweet Smuff, oh sweet Smuff. Scorpion 1 glanced at the mobile phone in the snow and sneered. A family number? Is that the woman? Or the kid? Lin Seven Knights slowly stood up, wiped the mouth of the blood, black eyes emerged from the cold kill. Scorpion 1 was not afraid of Lin Chia's eyes, shrugged her shoulders and continued to say. That's right. Today is New Year's Eve. I think I want to ask you how you are outside. Have you prepared the New Year's Eve dinner? And then let you know they're okay. Scorpion voice did not fall. Lin Chia's figure across the snow, the hands of the staggered knife shadow like a butterfly, light blue blades straight to his neck. Scorpion 1 successively blocked Lin 7 Knights a number of knives. Low roar, strong horizontal chi and blood rush out, power again several times will Lin 7 Knights shock. Lin Chia's body in the air, flexible adjustment angle, heavy fall on the ground, a single knife into the snow to stabilize the body. In fact, under the dynamic vision of Lin Chia terror, the speed gap between the two people is not irreparable, but the disparity in strength always allows Lin Chia to be pressed. We can't beat Scorpion 1 if we keep going like this. There must be another way. Lin 7 Knights looking at Scorpion 1, thoughts such as electricity. What a lovely family. Scorpion holding a pocket knife, calmly toward the forest 7 Knights. I guess they must not know what you are doing, do not know that you are close but far away. Drunk in the joy of the new year, how can they think that you are so close to them, fighting to the death? All right. After they kill you, hang your head outside their balcony, and when the New Year's bell rings they will be shocked to see it, right? Scorpion's smile grew worse and worse. Lin 7 Knight's hand tightly grasped the knife handle. He tried to restrain the chest-churning chi and blood, shaking up from the snow, the darkness around. After fighting with the maniac scorpions for so long, the duration of the dark deity market is approaching its limit, and his mental strength is approaching its limit. If he can't solve the battle in a short time, he will surely die. Beyond the mountains, beyond the sea, there's a group of Smurfs. The cheerful bell still echoed in the snow. This was the second round of music, and the ant on the other side of the phone still seemed to have no intention of hanging up. Lin Chia took a deep breath, the darkness in his eyes resurfaced, and the surrounding dark god's market stabilized. Praise. He suddenly pulled out the star knife stuck in the snow, the double knife oblique point to the ground, the body like electricity approaching Scorpion 1. A spent force. The scorpion laughed and assumed a fighting posture again. Lin Chia figure quickly close to Scorpion 1. When the two people's bodies are about to collide together, Lin Chia suddenly step out, deep in the snow. Touch. Under the effect of the dark god ruins, the snow under the feet of the two people suddenly burst, like a bomb buried in the snow, directly exploded out of a vast white snow. The drifting snow immediately captivated Scorpion 1's eyes. He frowned slightly. With years of combat experience, the body quickly responded. Dang. Folding knife without hesitation successfully blocked from the side of the Lin Chia knife. Scorpion a see Lin Chia body exposed. The corners of the mouth emerged. I already know you want to play, so smile. But then he stopped laughing. In the falling snow, Lin Chia cut a knife on Scorpion 1's pocket knife and the other hand. It's empty. Where's the second knife? This idea flashed in Scorpion 1's mind. A strong sense of crisis poured into his heart. He is about to act. Lin 7 Knight's eyes once again bloom a bright gold mang. The Seraphim's power crossed the void and poured straight into Scorpion's mind, turning his spirit upside down and stopping his movements for a second. Overdraft mental force of Lin 7 Knight's stuffy hum, face like gold paper back to fall. At the same time, with a slight stroke of his left hand, the star knife of Zhao Kongqing cut open the snow that was drifting all over the sky, silently fell into the back of Scorpion 1's neck, and lightly cut off a head. Blood like a spring gushing out. Lin Chia stumbled and fell in the snow. Zhao Kongqing's knife fell on his side. The blade clearly reflected his face and the slightly raised corners of his mouth. When over, Lin 7 Knights looked at the eyes of the dead transparent Scorpion 1, lying on his back in the snow, gasping for breath. He doesn't have a drop of mental power left. This desperate anti-kill Scorpion 1, it is too dangerous. Let Lin 7 Knights calculate which step is wrong. Which step is wrong is the end of doom. Fortunately he won. Oh sweet Smuff, oh sweet Smuff. Silent for a long time, the mobile phone ringing again. Lin Kinite reluctantly stood up, with the knife body to support the body, staggered to the snow, picked up the mobile phone on the ground. Then he reached over Scorpion's body for a moment, took off the silver nameplate and put it in his pocket. Hey auntie. You little boy. I haven't answered your phone for so long. What are you doing? Have you been out so long that you don't need your aunt? A series of familiar voices came from the other end of the line, anxious in tone. The corners of Lin Chia's mouth turned up slightly, and he dragged the blood-soaked knife over the corpses. Each step falling in the snow was a scarlet footprint. Auntie, I was just talking to my comrades and I didn't see my phone. He said softly. You boy. Big New Year, can't you take the initiative to call home? I was gonna call tonight. Would have. Brr. My aunt paused and her voice gradually softened. How are you doing in the army? How's it going? Lin Chiao wiped the blood on his face, walked to the corner of a corridor and looked out the window at the small building. From here he could clearly see his aunt on the balcony. His hand trembled slightly as he held the phone and after a moment he spoke softly. Yeah, I'm all right. The new year is coming soon. Do you have a New Year's Eve dinner in your army? Yes, our captain is already preparing it so I can eat it when I get back. Going back? Are you outside? No, I mean we can eat it back in the cafeteria. Oh. My aunt's voice paused for a moment and continued. Well then you have to eat more. Lin Seven Nights seems to be aware of aunt's mood is not quite right. Take the initiative to speak. Aunt, I am not at home this year. You must have a hearty dinner. Sure, don't worry, I'm cooking fish in this pot, it's delicious, and then there's pork, it's just. We may not finish eating without you. Ajin is growing. You have to make him eat more. By the way, do you want to talk to your brother? All right. On the balcony, my aunt quietly wiped the tears, turned and walked into the house and gave the mobile phone to Yang Jin. Hey man. Jin, you weren't clumsy when I was away, were you? Of course not, brother. Why do you ask? No, I just mentioned it in passing. Brother, how's life there? It's fine. You can count on it. If you're too tired, it's okay to come back because when the sky falls, there's always a tall guy. Lin Seven Nights silence for a moment. A sound. The two brothers just held the phone and for a long time no one spoke. Hey you kid, you and your brother away for a long time still separated? And see, two people do not speak, simply take the phone directly over. Little Seven, don't tell you all, my pot of fish is ready, I have to go to put it out first. All right, Aunt. Auntie. Lin Chia stood in the corner of the corridor looking at the busy figure after a long time, smiled and opened his mouth. Happy New Year. Well, Happy New Year. Chapter 132. Happy New Year. The snow is getting smaller and smaller. It's getting darker and darker. On the roof of a building next to the low house, Lin Chia sat quietly there, with two black boxes beside him like a stone sculpture which did not move for a long time. The city, like the sea level, extends to the end of the field of vision farther and farther, more and more dark at the junction of the ground and the sky, a sunset slanting to the jagged building shadow set with gold. The light of the evening shone on Lin Chia's body, pulling his back for a long time. Those deep eyes contain the light of the sun, watching the busy family in the distance, his mouth with a smile. The breeze brushed the youth's black hair. The air seems to be filled with the fragrance of food. I do not know how long after, a man walked slowly to his side, looking at the family after a long time, slowly opened his mouth. Any regrets? In the sunset, Lin Chia shook his head slightly. No regrets. You won't be going back anytime soon, and the more often you come back, the more people will notice. Leng Xian sat down beside him and said, I know. Actually, if you hadn't come today, nothing would have happened to them. Lin Seven Nights turned his head, confused, looking at Leng Xuan. Do you think that captain's talk about protecting your family is just talk? Leng Xian's mouth slightly hooked, he stretched out his hand, pointing to the distance of the low room. That day when the captain and the deputy team came to your home to send materials, they posted a forbidden object named Huang at your door, which is like a transparent note that can open a small forbidden market. If someone with bad intentions tries to break Wei Yang's perimeter, it will activate and transport all the creatures that have been marked in the house to another marker, which is under the peace office, for their safety. Lin Seven Nights Zheng, he never heard Chen Mai mention the existence of Wei Yang. More do not know Aunt and Yang Jin when has been under the protection of forbidden things. Wei Yang. Lin Seven Nights mumbling. Like the no-ring airspace, it is one of the few man-made forbidden markets of the Night's Watch. But the price of this thing is not cheap. Even within the Night's Watch, not many people can use this thing. Speaking of this, Leng Xuan seemed to think of something and the voice gradually softened down. But we, Squad 136, pretty much everyone's family has this thing. Lin Chia asked blankly. Why? Leng Xuan has a deep meaning to look at him. Do you think? Why is the captain so poor? Lin Chia's body shook slightly and soon thought of something and stared into the distance. Leng Xian patted his shoulder, picked up the gun case, turned and walked downstairs, his voice with the breeze to the ears of Lin Seven Nights. Come on, you won't be able to eat this family's New Year's Eve dinner, but the other family? You are always welcome. Lin Seven Nights deeply looked at the direction of home, where Aunt is carrying a plate of fresh hot food. placed on a small wooden table. Yang Jin sat beside, smiling. After a moment he smiled helplessly, stood up and walked towards the corridor. Just then a black and small mangy dog appeared in front of him, running quickly, rubbing his head against Lin Chia's ankle. Toady. Lin Seven Nights surprised low body, gently rubbing its head with his hand. Little Black licking Lin Chia's hand, a hiccup. What did you eat? And he burped. Lin Chia smiled. He picked him up and carried him to the bottom of the building, where he placed him on the stairs and whispered. I'm going to go and you're going to go home, and tonight you're going to have a treat. He rubbed his stomach, got up, picked up the 2 black boxes and finally looked up at the closed door and turned toward the dark sky. He stepped on the white snow, leaving a straight footprint that stretched into the distance. Ding dong. Welcome. Lin Chia just opened the door of the office. A strong flavor of vegetables will come, the full contact of grease and ingredients, issued a sizzling sound with the shaking of the pot body, issued a rhythmic crackling sound. The most soothing sound in the world. Red Tassel sat at the table, a pair of eyes staring at the stewed old goose on the table, hard to swallow, a few saliva, a pair of restless hands quietly to the goose leg touch. Pa. Wu Xiaongnan's chopsticks quickly clamped Red Tassel's hand. Wait for everyone to eat. I'll take one bite, one bite. Red Tassel cautiously held out a finger. No, Red Tassel wronged, bowed his head, put his chopsticks on the table, like a salty fish that was pumped out of his dream, soft on the table. Suddenly, out of her peripheral vision, she saw Lin Chia, who entered the room, and her eyes lit up again. 7 Nights, are you okay? I'm fine. Lin Chia shook his head. Did you catch the man who shot the arrow? Hong Ying pursed her lips, shook her head with a bitter face. No, the guy ran too fast and I dared not chase him with the forbidden market in the city in the daytime, so I let him run away. Lin Chia nodded thoughtfully. Nothing, he should have no malicious intent, just identity. The identity of the mysterious person. Lin Seven Nights has been very concerned. Can know the location of his home is not many people, but also know where the crazy Scorpion team ambushed, since it is not the night watchman who has so much energy. Is the captain still cooking? When Chima came up from the basement, touched his shriveled stomach and asked. I have been busy for nearly 2 hours and this is still with Xiaonan helping me. I don't know how much food he plans to cook. I am starving to death. Red Ying said with a sad face. After a few more minutes, the kitchen was finally quiet, and Chinmai came out with a large pot of fish soup, followed by Si Xiaonan, who was carrying bowls and chopsticks. Finally, everyone took their seats. 1 long table, 8 seats, 16 delicious dishes. Chinmai, Wu Xiaongnan, Hong Ying, Wen Qima, Lin Chia, Si Xiaonan, Leng Xian. There was also an empty seat where a man named Zhao Kongqing should have been sitting. Chinmai slowly picked up the glass in his hand. The orange beer swung out a faint halo under the light. His eyes swept over the people. In this year, old people died, new people joined, a lot of things happened. But once again we managed to protect the city for a whole year. As the leader of Squad 136, as the night watchman, I would like to thank all of you for the countless lives of this Songnan city. Chinmai stood upright, bowed deeply to the audience and then raised his head, his eyes full of seriousness. I hope next year we will still be sitting here. Not a few. Everybody. Happy New Year. All of them stood up from their positions, raised their glasses high in their hands, collided together, issuing a jingling crisp sound, and drinks rolled in different glasses, like golden wheat waves connected to each other. Happy New Year. Whoosh. Snap. Successive firecrackers came from a distance. Bright fireworks rose from every corner of the city, blooming in the black night sky, colorful fireworks swaying in the wind, gradually dissipated without trace. Draco, looks like this year it's just the 3 of us. Bailey Pang Pang handed Shen Qingzhu the canned beer in his hand, and the latter stared at the gorgeous sky, which came to his senses. No alcohol during work. Shen Qingzhu shook his head. Drink a little, even the half-monk Chao Yuan has drunk. You are a worker still in this pretentiousness? Bailey Pang Pang grinned and pointed to the ceiling above his head. Besides, the bodyguard group has arrived. Even if you drink and pass out, no one in Songnan City can hurt me. But it's the boss's order. All right. Shen Qingzhu opened the Kenpul ring, issued the bubble sound. Chao Yuan, also holding beer, came forward. In a cramped, dank love hotel, 3 teenagers sit by the window, watching the fireworks and clashing their beers together. Happy New Year. In a dark underground cavity. Wearing a black cloak, Onching Fish sat quietly on the stone platform. The chessboard in front of him had disappeared, replaced by a bottle of Sprite that had been drunk for the most part. The hazy moonlight fell from the overhead grid, illuminating the lower half of the underground space, and the distant sound of fireworks came leisurely and echoed in the empty space. Onching Fish looked at the moonlight above her head, silent for a long time, and slowly raised the Sprite in her hand. Happy New Year. He muttered to himself. Chapter 133 Interdictor. The sky is getting light. The fireworks that rang through the night still seemed to have no meaning to stop, and the hum of the cannon symphony echoed in the dawn sky. Creak. Lin Seven Nights opened the door out of the office behind the original business consulting hall. Has been a mess, everywhere is scattered bottles. On the two sofas used to entertain guests, when Qima and Wu Xiangnan slept like two dead dogs, while Hong Ying cradled the last wine bottle lying on the table while mumbling and giggling. Si Xiaonan went back to the underground bedroom, fell asleep. Only Qin Mai, also like a nothing, washing dishes in the kitchen. As for Ling Xian, before Lin Qi woke up he did not know where to go. Lin Kinite rubbed his temples. As a young adult high school student, his alcohol seems to be very good. Even if last night and this group of crazy drink so much, wake up today is still sober. He walked outside the office door, looked at the quiet Peace Bridge Street and took a deep breath of fresh air. Today is the first day of the new year. The air seems to be filled with the taste of happiness. The sound of firecrackers in the distance is ringing. And then look at the streets with spring couplets and blessing characters. Everywhere is full of New Year's flavor. Lin Seven Nights reached out from behind the door to take out the broom and began to sweep the snow. His brow furrowed slightly as he swept. Training camp this holiday is not long. If there is no accident tomorrow, that is, the second day of the new year, is the last day of the holiday, but so far those hidden in the dark enemies seem to have no big action. Although he has also encountered several attacks, but most of them can rely on their own strength to solve. But to say that this group of people attacked a high level of the enemy is not, Lin Seven Nights is sure not to believe. Moreover, the mysterious Medusa agent, the serpent woman of the ancient Church of God, has not yet appeared. Did the instructors secretly eliminate them, or did they all run off to Bailey Biggie? Or are they still biding their time? He believed that the instructors must have been doing something for so many days, but he had no idea how far the situation had come. There is no doubt that Songnan City has become a storm circle, and as the eye of this storm Lin Seven Nights, but it is the most peaceful life. Just as Lin had swept the last piece of snow and was about to turn back into the house, a buzzing explosion came from a distance. Because mixed in a lot of firecrackers, this sound does not seem so sudden. If not Lin Chia personally saw the smoke rising in the distance, most will think it is just their own illusion. Lin Chia squinted his eyes, looking at the direction of the smoke rising. That's boom, boom, boom dash. A series of fireballs broke out in the hotel, blowing up the old building with a sense of age. In the billowing smoke, 3 figures jumped down from the windows of the second floor. 2 of them fell firmly to the ground, only a little fat fell aflop and then rubbed his butt and jumped out. You two don't have to run that fast. Wait for me. Hundred's fat face still with a trace of drunk red, open mouth loudly shouted. Shin Qingzhu frowned, reached out his hand in the void and instantly evacuated the air of some rooms on the second floor of the hotel, and the burning fire disappeared without a trace. Then at a fingertip the compressed air will bounce away objects such as broken glass that fly into the air, keeping Bailey Pang Pang safe. Chow Yuan clenched his teeth, backhanded Bailey fat on the shoulder. Difficult to run towards the other end of the roadway. Let you drink less last night, today the enemy hit, you are not awake. Chow Yuan cold voice said. Bailey Pang Pang made a wine burp and smiled. You two love Qing, don't panic, little grandpa, I said long ago, my bodyguards have been secretly protecting me. There will be no accident. It won't hiccup. 100 fat voice just fell. 4-way figure rushed out of the hotel, quickly across the sky, firmly fell in front of Chow Yuan. 3 people. Chow Yuan's footsteps suddenly stopped, carrying Bailey Pang Pang stopped in place, and his other hand reached out to the black box, and his eyes were full of dignity. Shin Qingzhu wordlessly walked to Bailey Pang Pang body, fingertips rolled up a whirlwind, eyes as cold as an iceberg. The atmosphere froze at once. In this atmosphere full of gunpowder, Bailey Pang Pang made a wine burp, the corners of his mouth turned up, and waved to the 4 people in front of Chow Yuan on his back. Hi. Fire feng shui 4 forbidden things make have seen the small Tay. In front of the murderous 4 people suddenly half knelt to the ground, to the Bailey Fat salute. Chao Yuan. Shin Qingzhu. My dear ladies, please rise. Bailey Fat from Chao Yuan back down, patted 2 people on the shoulder to introduce, this is our Bailey home of the 4 forbidden objects, but also my personal bodyguard group. A forbidden man. Doubts appeared in Shin Qingzhu's eyes. Some high-risk prohibited objects, not everyone can use, must find the right owner of this prohibited object, in order to play the greatest effect, and these people are called prohibited objects. Bailey Pang explained, rubbing his bottom. By the way, forbidden objects make this statement, generally only our Hundredly family has, because in this world, it is only our family that has so many high-risk prohibited objects. These 4 forbidden objects, each one has the peak of the Sichuan border fighting force for people together, it can fight the sea. That's why I said we're safe. Bailey Pang voice fell, for forbidden things to make the fire in the head will come forward, holding 3 heads in his hands, it is just a surprise attack on the Hotel 3 Sichuan strong. The enemy has all been destroyed, please rest assured. In addition, the entire hotel has been booked in advance as you ordered so that no one was hurt. Well, good work. Bailey Pang slightly gnawed, put the foot of the rich son of the posture. Just then the wind seemed to sense something, frowned slightly and stepped forward. Grandpa, there are still enemies near here, please wait in place, I will come soon. Go on. Bailey Fat waved. Swish. 4 forbidden objects make the body shake, then disappeared in place, empty laneway, leaving only 3 of them to stay in place. After a while, Chao Yuan quietly opened. This is the real money ability. Shin Qingzhu finally came back to his senses, looked at Bailey Pang and opened his mouth with a tone of doubt about the world. So, what do you want me to do? Bailey Pang pondered for a moment. To get 3 men to fight the landlord? Chapter 134 Blind Owl. Training Camp. The half of the camp that was originally blown away by the missile has been restored, and even the guidance signs on the road have been repainted. If not for the scorched marks still remaining on the surface of some buildings, I am afraid no one will believe that there has been a major disaster here. The empty canteen has long disappeared, the figure of the new recruits. At this moment, a few dozen instructors are sitting at a long table, leisurely eating lunch. Well, not to mention after the new recruits left, life felt a little boring. One of the instructors sighed. You feel bad about not having anyone to curse at? Pa, if you say so, that's a little. Anyway, it's been a while since I've seen Han Li. Where's that kid? I don't know. Not only him but several instructors in the camp are missing, saying they're out on a secret mission. Secret mission? A drill sergeant's brows slightly raised. Could it be related to the previous enemy attack? I don't know, but I've been feeling a little weird in camp lately. What's weird? I don't know, I just feel there's always a sense of pressure. Look at you. You're just overthinking it. The instructors are talking just as they are about to finish their meal. 2 figures walked into the canteen. Seeing the first man, all the instructors rose to salute. Chief. Hello, Chief. Yuan Gang calmly faced, slowly walked to their front. His eyes stared at one of their instructors, an inexplicable majesty emanating from his body. Behind him, Instructor Hong held several pieces and looked very calm. Under the pressure of Yuan Gang's eyes, the instructor's face suddenly turned pale. He pressed his lips, and his arms holding the military salute began to tremble slightly. Other instructors also seemed to realize that the atmosphere is not right, and the atmosphere is afraid to come out. Why? Yuan Gang slowly opened his mouth. The instructor opened his mouth and said hoarsely, Chief, what do you mean by this? Li Yaoguang joined the army in 1989. I remember you when I was a captain, you were my soldier. Yuan Gang calmly shouted out his name. Why? Li Yaoguang's body began to shake uncontrollably and lowered his head. His face had no blood color. Li Yaoguang. Instructor Hong, who has been standing in the rear, calmly opened his mouth, and the piece of his hand has been opened. At 9:42 p.m. on November 14th, the surveillance of the southeast door took pictures of you sneaking out of the camp. At that time, where were you going? On November 26th, when the recruits left the camp for the 3rd time to go to extreme training, you disappeared from the screen for 2 hours. During this time, where were you? On December 7th, your parents' online bank account was wired 2 separate sums of money from unknown sources, one for $2 million and the other for $3 million. Where did the money come from? On the day of the attack on the training camp, You sent 2 encrypted messages from your satellite phone. Half a minute later your bank account was 3 million more and you... Don't say another word. Li Yaoguang suddenly shouted as if his whole strength had been drained. His face was as white as paper, and he covered his face with his hands and cried bitterly. I don't want to. I didn't want to. They caught my parents back home. Yuan Gang looked at Li Yaoguang after a while, removed his eyes, calmly said, These words you do not have to say to me. Wait for the night watchman verdict in Beijing City. Naturally someone will ask. If nothing else, you'll be spending the rest of your life in a fast. When all the people have not returned from the shock, Yuan Gang once again said 2 names. Wang Jiui, Wu Ruotong. The 2 instructors who were called by name gave a shock to their bodies and their faces turned ugly. Surprise, surprise. This is a small recruit training camp. Actually by that group of people planted 3 hidden stakes, really a big hand. Yuan Gang sneered. The rest of the instructors suddenly turned to look at the 2 people. The eyes are full of disbelief, and Wang Jiui and Wu Ruotong, 2 people, quickly exchanged a look, burst out. Victor. 2 short knives appeared in their hands and stabbed Yuan Gang's throat like lightning. They move so fast that the other instructors do not react, so fast that the air only left their shadow. Yuan Gang cold hum, a golden ripple to his heart burst. The power of terror like 2 poles sledgehammer heavy hit Wang Jiui and Wu Ruotong chest. They will shake down, fly out. Their 2 figures smashed into the surrounding tables and chairs, directly overturned a large piece of tableware, issued a jingling sound. They struggled to climb from the ground, while spit out a blood. Yuan Gang carried his hands on his back and walked in front of them expressionlessly, his eyes as cold as a deep pool. Wang Jiui struggled to climb up from the ground in the disparity of strength gap. Not only did not despair, but the eyes appeared crazy color. Yuan Gang, whispering, Adult asked us to bring you a gift. Wang Jiui and Wu Ruotong's mouth at the same time opened a ferocious arc. The next moment the body will be like a balloon expansion. A strange red light burst from their bodies. Yuan Gang's brow a twist, a cold hum, right foot heavy on the ground, the golden ripples like the essence of the ground, like a golden bell, shrouded in 2 people outside the body. They are completely isolated from the surrounding environment. Snap. The bodies of 2 people exploded under the red light. The mangled flesh splashed on the wall fan of the golden bell. The visible red impact shook inside the bell, but it could not be broken and finally erupted along the vertical direction, blasting out a deep circular trench on the ground. See, the red light dispersed. Yuan Gang also waved away the golden ripples. Messy flesh along the deep ditch wall flowing down, a stench spread. The faces of the surrounding instructors changed in an instant. Whispering, Hong instructor looked at the scene with a frown and said in a deep voice that it was brainwashing. When exactly did these people of the Church of the Old God do this? Yuan Gang looked down at the flesh and blood on the ground. The eyes emerged a towering anger. The chest was violently up and down. He gave a cold hum and turned to walk toward the canteen. His eyes climbed the pale gold and a strong and horizontal pressure broke out in his heart, and the pressure was out of breath. This farce has gone on for so long, it's time for it to end. He walked out of the canteen and walked step by step outside the gate of the training camp. Obviously the pace was not fast, but his figure left a shadow in the air. For a moment, Yuan Gang's figure disappeared in the line of sight of everyone. Hong instructor looked at the back of Yuan Gang leaving, mumbling, Chief, I was angry.